Well, good evening. Welcome back, everybody. It is July 26th. I'm Mike DiMuccio, your host, Royal Diamond Nikken Wellness business builder for now 29 and a half years and going strong. I want to congratulate the facilitators of this past weekend's Master Day. It was masterful. Two of you I see on the call right now, Madeline and Barb. I think who else was facilitating? Pam, Jeannie. Was Jeannie also? And
yes,
who else?
Yes.
That's what I see so far. I want to just say, guys, you guys did a stellar job. Excellent work. You know, 4 hours is a long time to sit your butt down and pay attention to something, but it was a good pace. It was really good content. It was diverse. Yeah, it was, I thought it was a really well done event. And I've had good feedback from it because I had people on the event as well. I'm really looking forward to the playback. Do you know if that's going to be forthwith?
Yes, and we did. That we also, I heard on my young entrepreneurs group from Ruben that Dave Balsers and that young one will be broken out. So it would be nice if all were, so that people had choices to use to leverage and compound.
Beautiful. Yeah, that was really, really good. I really enjoyed your interview of the young entrepreneurs panel. That was really, really well done. And so, yeah, I'm happy to have participated with my little 2 cents on why Team Kaizen. And it's hard when you have everybody saying pretty much the same thing, how to contribute something different. I had no notes because I knew going last or second last, whatever it was, I would have to figure out something on the fly. Anyway, just overall excellent experience. Now, if you had somebody in attendance, either from your team or from as a guest, you were working. If it was just you, you were learning. Either way, your business made a step in the right direction Saturday. For those, and I'm talking many who were not in attendance, they don't know what they did. They don't know. They don't know what they missed. So I'm going to suggest right now, right here, right now, you make a decision to not only attend the next event, which is, what's the date in August for the 2-hour Seiko Kai?
I think the 21st.
August 21st.
August 21. Okay, I should know that date. It's my son's birthday. So on August 21, we're having a Seiko Kai. It's going to be a 2-hour abbreviated version of the Master Day. Certainly not as impactful in terms of content, but still impactful, because the greatest impact that we could ever hope for when somebody attends an event like that is they hear your stories. They hear your voice. They hear your passion. They get a sense about how real you are and transparent you are. And I know that when I put Nikken prospects or guests in front of you, they're going to come away knowing that this is good. They're going to come away trusting. So the best thing you could do at an event like this is expose people to it. So make a commitment right here, right now, as to how many people you're going to have personally attend Seiko Kai. Okay, and we're going to work backwards. This is why I'm doing this. So if you're going to have, say, 10 people attend Seiko Kai, may seem like a stretch, but hey, if the goal doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. So let's say it's 10 people. Working backwards, that means 10 people who are in like the latter stages of introduction. That means how many people will have to have at least had some kind of an introduction? 20, maybe 30 people. So if 20 or 30 people will have had an introduction between now and then, how many people would have to have been contacted? Chances are another number. So here is an opportunity for you to explore how to create a flurry of contacts. And this might include, and I suggest it does, going to your contact list and asking for from those contacts their help. The most potent thing you can do for a contact, for a friend, for a colleague, for somebody you know, is ask for their help. Tell them why you're asking for their help. Tell them about them. This is a really important thing to do. You know, compliment them. Give them a genuine compliment as to why you're even asking them to help. Because obviously you trust that they will lead you to somebody who is meaningful, somebody who has, you know, a good sense of self. And so when you tell somebody something about themselves, why you appreciate them, then they'll have much more of an interest in helping you find what you're looking for. And notice you're not even asking them to join. You're not even asking them to go to the event. They're just somebody you want to introduce you because there's an important event coming up, and you could use this. There is a very important event coming up August 21 that could change their life, could change lives, the trajectory of someone's life. And they're like, what's the event? Oh yeah, no. Well, it's going to involve a number of my colleagues who have been very successful in ECAN, and some of the sharing that they're going to be doing, and some new innovations that are coming up that could literally put somebody on a trajectory that could change their life and the life of their family. Well, what do you have to do to be on this call? You're going to find them asking you a bunch of questions. Don't be surprised if that happens. And that's okay. Remember, the goal is not to invite them. The goal is for them to have somebody introduced to you. It turns out, though, you may have them as well as guests. But now you have time between now and then to inform them about what's new. What's new at NECAN? What's going on at NECAN? You heard such a bunch of new things, so many exciting things happening. You can talk about what's new and exciting. Why are you excited and reinvigorated? You see how this is a micro business plan in the next 4 weeks? You're launching a mini launch within your business over the next 4 weeks with the goal of having 10 or 20 new people attend the Seikokai, knowing full well on the heels of the one that just happened, the Master Day, what would have happened had you had some guests there or some business prospects there. So do this little business plan. This is your little exercise for the next 3 to 4 weeks, is work that backwards. Now, what I'm talking about is actually what I do all the time. This is not a one-off for me. The reason why we have this calendar and why the events repeat every month is because people are running their business every month. Our goals, our expectations are monthly. And so we need specific events to take place in order to facilitate the process of informing people to the degree that they will take some action. And we know that big events lead to decisions that are more meaningful than small events. So your big event is the recruiting event for a big decision. What do you consider a big decision in ECAN? Anybody? Jump out. What do you consider a big decision in ECAN?
Decision to become a partner, wellness business builder, wellness business leader.
Okay, that's a big decision. Any other particular ones?
Commit yourself to do a change in your life in different areas.
Yep. A commitment to change, which can be scary for a lot of people, but a big decision like that changes everything anyway. Anything else?
Change
Within the
your daily
context of
method
NECAN?
operation to be consistent daily in connecting and contacting.
Is that the decision? Like an event like that can cause one to make a shift in the way they're operating their business, yeah? Okay.
And a shift in the tools in how they're operating their business, the speed in how they're operating their business when you see and hear the stories of what others are doing, that if they can do it, I can do it too.
Most certainly. We heard some great stories on that call with respect to that. Like that one gal who was trying to get a water filter for free, sells 29, 31, whatever.
39.
39 is like,
In
what?
less than a month. In less than a
Oops.
month. And yeah.
Oops. I didn't mean to do that. And how many of you are trying so hard, you're wondering like, what the heck is wrong with me, right? It's like energy. It's energy. It's that perfect.
And 9 months later has 1,000 partners, not customers, in
Yeah.
her organization.
Yeah, she wasn't even like, she was not looking for a business. She was not looking to be a Nikan consultant. She just wanted a water filter.
Because she didn't have the money to buy it.
That's awesome. Perfect. It's exactly what we need to be reminded of. We could do this with a little bit of a humor and a little light heart. But you know, intention works. Intention is pretty good. So, but she obviously made a number of calls. She didn't stop with one sale. She just kept going.
Actually, Mike, what she used was WhatsApp and Facebook and whatever other social media. That was it. And then they all
That's
copied her.
unbelievable. That's unbelievable. You know, but that's an education. Guys, what did you just learn? You just learned it wasn't very complicated. She just reached out to people using her tools that she's familiar with, WhatsApp, any type of social media engagement, got a conversation going, and then sold the waterfall. And
actually, here was what she said. Madeline, 4 words, tastes good. I wanted waterfall. You can make money. I mean, you know, that's it. I have to buy it. Those were the other 2 words. Taste good, buy it. Those were the 4 key words. And then she had just a few other things in between, you know, with her enthusiasm. And they did.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And not on top of that, she has a huge business as a result of this one accident, right?
Yeah.
But it was whatever it took something to get her even interested. And it was the desire to have that waterfall, because she really knew how good it was. And she knew that her aunt was selling them. And anyway, so what if it was you who enrolled that person? You know, what if it was you? You'd be laughing right now. You'd just be hysterical, because it's like, I don't even understand it myself, but there it is. Somebody enrolled her. And that's the point. They're out there waiting for something. They're waiting to make a change in their life. And what's standing between them and Nikan is the knowing that Nikan's out there, and how they're going to know about it if they don't get invited. So it could be any one of us, and it should be every one of us who brings that next superstar to the table. And that happens when we reach out and invite people to explore this. And we're not committing a crime, and we're not asking for them to do something that is, you know, with ill intent or against some psychology or some religion or some whatever. It's just all good. It's all good. And we just got to get more fluid about it. I was just on a call right now, an ABC call with somebody who's made a decision to enroll on my daughter's team. And she's like, I talk to everybody. I just talk to everybody. Everywhere I go, I'm talking to everybody. I'm saying, wow, there's so many people I know that have a hard time talking to anybody. And here you are talking to everybody. So they're out there. They're just out there. And I said to her, we have a saying in this business: if you don't think you can do this business, that's okay. Just find somebody who can. Right? So they're out there. And it's just a matter of, you know, turning over enough cards and finding them. And don't take it so personal. You know, just don't get so caught up in your ego that your ego's bruised if they say no.
Mike, maybe Barb Satterwhite would share her one new silver that's direct to her 5 levels down where she is. Barb, please share what that has led to so far.
Let's hear about it.
Well, that's the
Oh,
exciting.
by the way, before you tell the story, holy smokes, Barb Satterwhite. We're not even halfway through the year and you're already qualified for Team Kaizen. Whoa.
Everybody
You
clap,
rock.
everybody clap.
Oh man, that's unreal. Wow. Give myself a shake. Go.
And it even surprised myself.
And Barb is not 32, but she's already there. She's not 32.
Fantastic.
I actually surprised myself. I knew the numbers were close and figured it out, but I didn't have any idea that he was going to announce it. But anyway, I'm excited and pleased. But one of the things that is true, the two silvers that were on there, one's third level to me and the other was first level. And the first level person, this is interesting. And this is another example of don't judge anybody. She's in her late 70s. She doesn't drive. She never was on Zoom. She didn't do any of that. She worked for me 45 years ago, and she was a nursing aide with my oncology practice, and helped me take care of Don. And while I was in San Diego that week, and Don was his last week. And anyway, so she was there, and she's been a friend ever since. And she's been a customer, and decided in January she wanted to just go ahead and enroll. And literally, she doesn't drive. She doesn't do any of those things. Hardly uses the computer, but was telling her friends who told people. She signed up the one person who's executive already. She'll probably be silver this month. And she has signed up her granddaughter, who signed up the daughter who is in Africa, and who signed up 2 more. So there are 5 levels, okay? And that's just by her talking to, and she talked to other friends. And so she had customers building up. So, I mean, that's been the fun part, because that shows you how simple it is.
And what are they doing in Africa?
Nothing yet, but she's so excited. She has the water bottle, and she's put out this whole video, and she's getting so many responses. We just have to figure out how to get products to Africa. But
there's missionaries going there that are taking the water bottle.
That's why she's, and she's encouraging people coming down to buy the products beforehand. But on the other hand, she's got people down there that want these things. And so we got to figure that out. But how fun was that? Okay. And that's just because I had this relationship with this gal for 40, 50 years almost, and just dripped on her on different things, helped her with whatever. She helped me. And so a sad part is we went through what she wanted to do this on Master Day. And even that morning she had her video on. For some reason, her video wouldn't work. So I'm sad about that, but I'm very glad that she got to speak. So, and quite honestly, I was so afraid she'd be too nervous to do it. So I said, Zena, guess what? It'll be fun. And they need a picture. Oh, they need a picture. I said, nope. And I took the 2 silvers to dinner the Sunday before. And I said, don't worry about it. I'll take your picture. Took a picture, sent it off. And then I said, let's just talk about it. I'll type up what you want to say, so you'll have it. And she wasn't nervous at all. I just love the fact that I helped her. I was so afraid she would say no, she wouldn't do it. So that part's been fun. And again, it's just a perfect example of, building that relationship. And quite honestly, what I want to work with, just like we were saying on the call, that leg I need to keep working with. Okay, to help them do whatever they need to do. In fact, anyway.
Well, that's fantastic. That's such a great story. And I think that's, when it's about flow, when it flows, it's effortless, right? And getting into the flow, I think the only reason why we don't get into flow is because we get into anxiety instead. And anxiety comes from what we think will or won't happen. So we're already projecting into the future an outcome that we don't want. And so we start fearing the outcome that we've projected into the future. And then we start acting a certain way, which assures us the outcome that we're fearing. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So one of the things I thought we might talk about tonight is handling objections, because I'm sure people fear objections. What do I say if, or, how do I ask somebody to go ahead and buy, and I say, how you say it just now. Why don't you go ahead and buy? It's called English. Express yourself. So we always get ourselves tied in a knot, and then that creates an energy that's not flowing, and that is picked up by the other person, and it doesn't feel comfortable, and so they don't feel comfortable, and they don't have the confidence, and they don't make the decision. So how do we handle some of these objections? So let's everybody chime in here, because I'm sure you've encountered this. So I was just peeking at Eric Worre's book. By the way, if you haven't read this book, this is a must. Go Pro, Eric Worre. He's all about being a pro And I think we really ought to be a NECAN professional, which means we take our business as a business.
Well,
We
Mike,
know
the
it's
fact that
fun.
the fact that you're picking up and reading it when you're already at the top, that's what professionals do, and that's what mastery is. You never stop practicing.
Well, not only that, but I've got my new team reading this, so I need to hear for myself what they're hearing for themselves. I need to refresh myself so that it's, when we get into a conversation and they're making references, I know what we're talking about. So the idea of objections, basically, he says, falls into two categories, one of two categories. Either the prospect's limiting belief in their abilities. Oh, I don't sell, I don't know anybody, I don't have any time, or they're not sure that they can be successful. Or the second limiting belief, which is in network marketing. I'm not sure if network marketing will help them achieve their goals. So let me just address a couple of these ones. When prospects have a limiting belief in their abilities, the common objections in this category are, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. It's not my thing. I'm not a salesperson. That's more common. I don't know anyone. It's funny because they could say that. I said, you have a phone on you right now? Can you do me a favor, open up your contact list, tell me how many contacts are on your contact list? It's, some people. I don't know anyone, or I'm too old, too young, have no experience. So all of these things, are basically a reflection of somebody finding a reason not to. So how do you help them overcome any of these objections? Anybody? We got some pros on the line. Throw it at me. What do you do?
When they ask if it's network marketing, or is it one of those pyramid things, you ask them directly, well, what's your understanding of network marketing? What do you think network marketing is? Because most people that have a warped idea of what network marketing is about has no real concept of what network marketing is. It is a profession. It can be a professional career. And there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. Unfortunately, people that have done it the wrong way have given it a bad name. So it's up to us to clear up that discrepancy. But ask them what their understanding is about it. Don't
Okay.
get into an argument or anything else. Just get them to explain to you what it is.
Good.
Then you can talk about it.
In other words, follow up with a question to get a little bit more information as to where they're coming from, what their perspective is.
Exactly.
Madeline, you have your hand up? Madeline?
Another strategy would be their list and then sitting with them or Zooming with them and say, okay, let's just start calling. Let's just start doing some random cold calls together and I'll be here, because the concern is having you is going to be pressure, whatever. Just start the conversation and let's just do it together and have the three of you be there together and then practice some of them, and then they get no.
I like that. I like that. You're suggesting go ahead and just initiate action.
Yeah.
Because you'll find out that most of the stuff that people are afraid of isn't real. It's just in their imagination. So when you go ahead and initiate action and there's like, wow, that was really different than what I expected. Bang, objection done. Awesome. That's a good one. Barb Bertucci. We'll get to you, Barb, in a second.
I had some really great salespeople in NECAN when I was coming through the works, and I really had some fear. I'm actually shy. As loud as I am, I'm actually pretty shy. So the first thing that I learned was just repeat the question, because it stalls you long enough to figure out what you're gonna say. So if they say, I just don't have the money, or whatever the question is, it may not be the money one, but just repeat the question back, right? But there was one that always helped me, and that is if I could show you a way that you could earn more money, have more freedom, have your health back, or I call it the levers and dials of your own, driving your own car, not run by somebody else's job stuff. Would you be willing And so just write that down. If I could, ... would you be willing? And that is saved me from so many people that would not be willing to go through the process with me and find out what it would take, and then they're like, no, I don't think I would do that. And I would be like, oh, okay. And then you just know to pack up your bag and that's it. You're done, finished lunch, whatever you were doing. You know that that's not a potential there. But if it gets them thinking, if I could show you a way that you could earn, have more time and in control of your life, would you be willing to go through these 5 steps, 4 hoops, the process with me, whatever that is that and I like to put them through a good bit of process so that you can make an informed decision. Because right now you think you know what I do, but you don't. And a lot of people do assess that because I've been doing this for 26 years. And I've gone back to some people and I've actually said, it's really funny, Margie, you think you know what I do, but you actually don't. And I'd love to just sit with you and have lunch and just kind of go over a few things, see if it might be a match for you. And then let's see if we can take it any further or not. And that's mainly if at this point that someone in their family I know could use the service, the business, the products and such. So, but those are some great tips that I had along the way. Mike, you can clean it up.
No. This is good. This is one of the ways that he suggests in his book here. For instance, when a person tells me I just don't have the money right now, I respond, I had the exact same challenge. I didn't have enough money to pay my bills, let alone start a new business. But when I thought about it, I realized if I didn't have enough money to pay my bills now, how was I going to change that in the future? I was tired of being behind. I was tired of always scrambling. I wanted more of life. So you know what I did? I found a way. And it was the best decision I ever made. Let me ask you something. If you really felt this was a chance for you to take control of your financial future, do you think you could find a way to make it happen? So it's interesting. It's sort of along the same approach. It's almost questioning their will. Do they really have the will to make it happen, to make something happen? Anyone else? Yeah, Barb Satterwhite.
I was just going to respond to when they ask about network marketing or they don't have enough money, always acknowledge that. Like, I'm in the same boat. I was in nursing. I never heard of network marketing. I didn't know anything about it. I understand where you're coming from. So acknowledge where they are and accept it.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Excellent.
Something else about the money too. A lot of people think that to be involved in network marketing, they have to make this huge investment. And both Eric Worre and Richard Brook say, when somebody comes up with that objection, say to them, how much money do you think it would take to be part of this business? What is your understanding? Because they may think it's thousands of dollars when it can be, well, look at our situation right now, how somebody can get started and start learning about the business and start using the products for an entry fee of $20. But they might think it's hundreds or several $1,000s like some companies are. So ask them, how much money do you think it takes to start this business or to become involved? Like clear up that misconception from the get-go. And that gives you another door to open.
Mike, when I listen to the money, it's the same thing as the time. It's that you got to be, think of Les Brown, you got to be hungry, but you got to be hungry, whether you're hungry because you don't have the money or you're so hungry because of that dream or that passion. And you're not going to let these other excuses of time or whatever it is get in your way if you see it. And that goes back to presenting it in some way or getting somebody's attention.
I really like asking a question, like if it's about time or if it's about money, asking a question, turning an objection into a question for more clarity helps the person really think about what they're saying. So when you say you don't have the time, what do you mean by that? When you say you don't have the money, what do you mean by that? I like what Eric put in here. He said, wait, sounds like you have a story. Tell me more. What happened to you in terms of network marketing objection? Wait, it sounds like you have a story. Tell me more about that. I love the inquiry when you're inquiring more in a calm way, not in a panicked way, just knowing they're coming from some point of view. And it could be a self-sabotage point of view, basically a belief system issue. And, you know, at the end of the day, if they're going to ever change their life, they have to change that belief. And you're there, right there in that moment. I'll tell you a story. This is a great little story. I told this story this weekend. So I was in a gold training moons ago when Larry Prophet was my coach and mentor in NECAN for many of us. And he was doing gold training and he wanted to get this point across. And so he walks around the classroom with his finger up in his nose and he starts talking to the person and he's like, well, just carrying on a conversation. And then he's just, and then he goes to the next person and then he goes to the next person with his finger up his nose. And then finally somebody says, you know, it'll be easier for me to take you seriously if you take your finger out of your nose. He goes, I didn't know I was doing that. Of course, he exaggerates the point, but the point was being made. And that was, he was not aware of what he was not aware of. That was somehow, you know, impeding his ability to be credible or to be heard or whatever. And how many people go through life like that? But it took one person with the courage to say, take your finger out of your nose, you look like an idiot. It took that person to be honest enough with him for him to make the change. Now, he could have been offended. He could have been embarrassed. There's so many reactions, yes, but the change could only happen until when he became aware. So it took somebody with courage to help that to happen. And that somebody may not result in a business or a partnership or a sale, but it resulted in a changed life. And so sometimes that's your moment of opportunity to really make a change in somebody's life. And it's not in the way you would expect. It's just in a way to be honest enough for them to be transparent with themselves. Because if they're going to lie to you, they're going to lie to themselves. And chances are they're lying to themselves when they're lying to you. And that's when you can say, let me see if I have this straight. And then you pair it back to them or repeat back to them what it is that they said. Is that what you mean? And you'll find that they think twice about what they said and they'll clarify that no, it's because when they hear it spoken back to them, it sounds ridiculous. So sometimes our role in this exercise with somebody is just that moment, is just that golden moment that they have for somebody to be courageous enough to say, wait a second, I could walk away from this and it doesn't change my life, but it doesn't change your life either. Or I could help you recognize something that you're saying that's not right. And on some level, you know, it's not right. So let's bring it up to the surface. And that way we don't have to pretend. Put the white elephant, you know, where it belongs. So those are, I see those as opportunities because I've had them so many times that for me, I don't leave a situation without that opportunity at least being given a chance, even if I know that's the last thing we talk about. So keep that in mind, that sometimes it's just being courageous enough to ask the question, being courageous enough to not to react. See, the key is that you're not reacting. The key is that you're responding. That's the ultimate, you know, lesson here with respect to answering objections, handling objections. It's to respond and not react. If you're reacting, they win because now they caught you, they got you, they've thrown you off balance, and now they figure, yeah, there must be something wrong with what they're saying because now look at all the work they have to do to convince me. So when you're not thrown off balance, when you don't react, instead you respond in a way that reflects back to them, then what you have is an opportunity to get to the real issue and address the real issue. And the real issue is often, this is not a reason not to do NECAN. This is a reason to do NECAN. That's often what it is. If somebody says, I don't have the money, it's like, wait, is that a reason not to do NECAN or is that the reason to do NECAN? I don't have the time. Wait, is that a reason not to do NICAN or is that the reason to do NICAN? You see what I'm saying? So,
You can also ask them, how much time do you think it's going to take?
yeah, how much time do you think it's going to take? I love asking this question. What would this have to be for this to be really worth your time? Or your attention, depending on where in the conversation I'm at. What would this have to be really worth your attention? Can I get your attention? So that could be the front end of the conversation, or if we're down the road in the information, what would this have to be for this to be worth your time?
Mike, I'm going to go back a little bit on the events because I just don't think people get how pivotal those events really are. And I know we used to have games like how many legs you have there, how many, you know, like, and we would have these competition, really friendly competition with one another. And, you know, it's like, I got 6. Oh my gosh, I got 6 legs. But for me, it made me see things in myself that I never thought possible or probable just by seeing other people do it. And that's what these big events are. You know, getting yourself, sometimes people are like, I just got there, I don't know how. And just making all that effort to get off work, to do the things, to get out to San Diego or to do the thing, to get there, you know, that was big and it pushed them to the limit. But to be at that limit and see other people's successes, hear those stories, they can now see themselves there. And that potentiality is tremendous. But where you see yourself is only as far as you can see. And the next event gets you to that next further step and the next further step.
And to put the event into the professional development, did you, if you have a college degree, did you go to the classes? If you work someplace else before, different jobs, how did you study and read it? This is how you learn this profession. It is the academic credential and the clinical practice by being with the people and having that experience. The other thing, if I can mention, looking at Barb, is an accountability partner. How do we get these skills? Somebody that you really trust that's going to be honest with you, along with your mentor. So we've been roommates and accountability partners, and I'll just give an example with our different complementary strengths and being honest. Of Barb saying or texting, stop interrupting, Madeline, stop talking, listen, ask. And then when I catch her with her butt, and so we're brutally honest with the other, and we've helped one another grow in wholeness. So we need our mastermind teams. We need this kind of support team where we're actually doing clinical practice experience here, Mike. And I think more of these would be real important, and even breaking out into little rooms, the breakout rooms, and do those assignments like Ben does, come back together, which I'm going to suggest for the master class. We've done that at big events. You know, here's the different rooms. Which one do you want to go to? Go there and rotate back around again, so there can be audience participation.
Great idea.
Also.
That's a great idea, especially for that event.
Use Zoom, that we need to do something a little bit more experiential. Just sitting and listening if we don't go out.
I totally agree. When I was on those big productions from Eric Worre and his wife, you know, with 100,000 people, when they broke out into small groups of 5 or 10 people, it was about 5 or 6 people. I was totally engaged. I mean, it was the highlight for me, was these breakouts with people who are nobodies in network marketing, just talking about what we're learning about or sharing whatever the exercise was.
Get us back together once, just like even in the HBM breakouts, when you're in your groups, you don't even hear anybody in any other group when you're in a group working.
Yep.
It's like they're not there.
Sonia Stringer uses breakout rooms quite often in her live trainings.
Well, okay,
And
we're a
it
little bit
works
off
really
topic,
well.
but let's bring that up, is breakout rooms for upcoming events. So those of you who are planning or participating in the next event, the next Seiko Kai, that would be something to bring up, even if it was just a one-time breakout for that event, and then maybe in the bigger event we do 2 or 3. Barb, you have your hand up?
Everybody.
Yes, what it reminds me of are roundtables, and roundtables were so popular at live conventions. And when I was in nursing, I facilitated and helped with national conventions, and we'd have huge roundtable sessions, like 200 people, 200 roundtables. So it's always been, and so it's the same sort of kind of idea or concept that on here. And we can take this back to the Master Day review on Thursday about, okay, because people are talking about it's too long. Now, what I want to say about that is, and I agree.
I wanted to bring that up as an objection, by the way, so I'm glad you brought this up.
Well, and it is long, and there's two ways to look at it. And it's quarterly. If you're in a business, if you can't give 4 hours every 3 months to your business and your corporate leadership, then you're really not buying into it. Now, that being said, I think what we're doing, it is too long in the way it's being done, but if it's done with breakout sessions where people can choose, do I want to hear about Team Kaizen? Do I want to hear about whatever? So I think this is what we can do, is marry this, because I hear Luis saying it all the time, because it's brought up every quarter, this is too long. And he's been insistent on doing it the 4 hours. But quite honestly, if you go back yourself off and say, okay, is it not worth my time to spend 4 hours every 3 months with the company? And
Okay, so the question then I would have, and hold your thought, Pam, I'm going to come back to you. So the question, the objection is, oh, it's so long. What would you answer? What would your answer be to why it's worth the time? How would you handle that objection?
I would say that it gives you the opportunity to hear from the field and corporate, and it's once a quarter, and choose what you can offer. If you can attend, fine.
How about in the form of a question? If you knew that your entire business would be transformed by investing 4 hours once every 3 months with the corporate leaders, would it be worth the investment of time? It's if you ask it in a form of a question, it forces them to think. And the moment they think about it and reason, it would be reasonable. It would sound reasonable if you put it in the right context, like you're saying, Bart. I think it's a great context. Pam Barnes. By the way, I really like the puzzle.
Yes, thank you.
I really like the puzzle. I wanted to give you feedback. I don't know if I want to do it publicly, but I do want to do it because I thought it was a great idea. I think it would have been great if after you did the, you one line word, you did the thing, and then you give them the answer. Then you go on to the next one, because then they would have sort of been, it'd have been giving them a little bit of a clue as they went along, and a little bit of a, sweet potato on the, anyway.
Well, the issue there, and when you talk about breakout sessions, I have my doubts that the company, this was Ruben said a new company that could handle what I wanted to do,
yeah.
which was pretty simple because I could have handled it myself. And on Friday, when we practiced, they couldn't get it. And Ron thinks it's a language barrier.
Okay, because I did find that there was
coming
a struggle
into play.
there. Yeah.
Oh, well, we were 30 minutes late trying to get it. It's not, I did it. I said, this is all you have to do, but they just didn't get it. And so I really think that we're a few company or another company where they need to try something to do the breakout sessions. It's a little bit too involved for the companies they're hiring.
Listen, you guys are going to have a debriefing, right?
this.
You're going to have a debriefing with Nikan, so give them feedback. And
That's
by
right.
the way, I echo that because there were some technical issues from my point of view. Timing, boys. Come on, guys. Who's on the switch there? Sound in the background. There's just, as a person who does shows, who knows how to do a show and timing and sequences, your production guys need to be ahead of the curve, not behind it. So yeah, that would be my comment, that they can beef
Agreed.
up their
If
production end.
We plan to go over all that with them. And like you said, Pam, the breakout sessions, it has to be done right. And that is up to them. If they're paying this production company, then it could be done.
But is that what you wanted to say, Pam? The whole production thing about that? Because yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a great idea, and yes, I've enjoyed them and other things, but
okay. Well, listen, if this is what we want, if this is what we want, then they're gonna
be like.
if this is what we want, then they have to learn to execute it.
I think
It's-
that on a
that's-
master day, if we can have a product launch, and we may or may not, but I do think that there are windows that guests can be invited. And I would love to have that opportunity, and then they can stay on longer or not, but
Okay.
maybe we could flag them to come in midway or whatever.
I
Have
would
the-
say the way to deal with that is if we have the agenda published. To have a published agenda gives me the opportunity. That's, I knew the agenda, so I knew when to bring people in. And that may be a little unfair, but I was just playing with it because I knew 4 hours I wasn't going to have prospects in the certain segments, but there were some that I wanted them on. So yeah, having an agenda. So usually in a big event, we have a published agenda. You know who the speakers are, you know what they're going to do, and you when they're coming on. So that would be helpful, because as well, it's helpful where you're anticipating what's going to happen. So
Yeah,
that's another, that's some, so agenda. So write that down. We'll add
That's
that to. By the way, guys, we are so off topic right now.
Yeah.
We're talking about objections, right?
We're not off topic. We're not off topic.
Mike, just so you know, we've got all of those listed and we're going to submit them and then
Great.
talk about them. So, yeah.
Great. Okay, let's get back to did we miss any objection, like time, money, contacts, or sales, an MLM? What other objection do you guys face?
I've never done a business. I don't know how to do a business plan. I don't have experience.
Okay,
Speaking, all those things, the fears, the things that people are afraid of.
and at the end of the day, all those fears, right, are about their belief in self, right? What is Nikan about? Humans being more. What is one of the, I like telling people Nikan is a personal development program with a compensation plan. So you're going to get paid to grow. So if that's been a challenge for you, we're going to pay you to get better. Are you in? One of the things that I find I've been doing a little different is the 3-step process that we talked about. We talk about the why, the how, the what. Yeah, what Madeline's holding up. I added in my PowerPoints. Keep that up for a second, Madeline. I added in my PowerPoints in the corners, in the zigzag, in those corners where people get stuck. I put ABC. That's the best time to do an ABC, is where people typically get stuck. In other words, to help them move to the next step. But what I've also found, true to that chart, which I have two, true to this, is that this step, the what step, happens after somebody's decided if they're a customer or consultant. Typically, what I've been doing in the past, what I would do the what presentation, because I'm looking for a partner before I got a decision. But I'm starting to roll that back a little bit. And I think they need to be able to make a decision as to whether or not they want to be a consultant or a customer before I give them the secret handshake. Of course, the secret handshake is what's the mechanics of the business? What's our business plan, and how do we launch the business? I think a $19.99 decision to enroll is not a very big decision, and it's not worth an hour and a half investment of how to do the business if they're not even going to do the business. So I'm rolling it back, and now I'm involving that as a once a week event for those who've enrolled. So you might want to think about, when do you involve yourself in that? But I do want to emphasize, as I did with my business in a box team today, one of the things that I think I've done differently than most people in Nikan is I do have that third conversation. That third conversation is the plan and a launch strategy. That's where your organized thoughts are being shown. How do I actually get on this, runway, roll my plane down the runway, get it off the ground, and level out so that I have, at the end of that 90-day effort, something to be proud of, something to be rewarded by, and something to teach. I need to have something to teach. So a launch plan, a launch strategy, a business plan that I can teach is something that I've always had as a third conversation. And of course, it sets up a blueprint for the ideal launch. But that's all it is. It's a blueprint for the ideal launch. You don't know who's going to take it on and really execute it. But at least it's a blueprint. And I can't imagine starting to build a house without a blueprint. It may not be exactly when the final product is done, it may not be 100% what the blueprint said it was, but it'll be largely close to the blueprint. But I would never even attempt to start a house without a blueprint. So having a plan, some type of a business plan and a launch strategy, I think is critical for duplication at the level of the business. One of the things that is a microcosm of that is our incentives. That's a microcosm of a business plan. That would be, you know, if you want a simple business plan for somebody who needs it really, really simple, how's this? Power Start. There's our plan. When we get that done, we'll look at the next one. So there's a micro plan to help somebody get some results early on in their business in their first 30 days. And I'll tell you, when you get somebody some results in their first 30 days, there's going to be another 30 days. But if you don't get anybody any results in their first 30 days, there may not be another 30 days. So it really, really puts an exclamation mark on what do I need to do when I enroll somebody, get them a result in their first 30 days.
Like another thing, the person that I said that signed up, and I could tell that her first level was going to be executive pretty quickly. And so I got talking to her, but she said, well, how can I stay ahead of her? So it was really funny. So, you know, we got her to silver before the other one, but the other one will be right on her heels. But I mean, that's the other thing is like you said, you've got to make them realize what it is they are missing or they would want, you know, and just keep them engaged.
So,
and this is the other cute thing. You remember I told you she doesn't drive, and she would call me up and she says, Barbara, I've got so-and-so, can I bring them over to your house? And she that afternoon would bring them over. And that's when that person signed up that then got her daughter signed up and everything. So it really is just a matter of just helping them, but feeling where they are with things. And with this person, like I said, not going to get on there and go through the computer, do any of that, but now it can. So.
Awesome. Well, listen, for those of you who joined tonight, awesome. Good call. Really good call. I think this is really pertinent information. Please share the recording. Next week, I'm going to engage you in, I want to hear what you do to ask them to buy. I want to hear what you say to ask people to buy, whether it's the products or enroll. I want to hear your final, those words that get that action to take place. That's what we want to hear, whatever you're doing. So look forward to that being next week's call, because I think that'll be a great call too. Right, everybody. Awesome. Have a wonderful month end. Make it happen. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.